All right, bring it in.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Center 50 Paintball Podcast. We are on number, what, PJ? 90.
Fuck.
I'm screwing it up just as bad as you are this time.
91?
91? I'm going to say 92. Let's see what we're at. We are at
91, I think. 90 was Vince, right?
92. I was right.
Damn.
Man. All right, that's
Did
my
I miss
TED Talk. Thanks for joining us.
Did I mess the thumbnail up? I swear I put 90 on that. Let's see.
90 was the Atlantic City Open post game,
Make
and then
sure.
Vince was 91. And then
Okay, I
this
did put
should be
91.
92.
Yeah, okay. Damn. How do I get that wrong every time we do this?
I'm right there with you because
Yeah.
I didn't think to get this far. But this episode is brought to you by ProDNA. Bam. Use code Center50 on their website to get 10% off everything on their website except for markers. You can go to get their elbow pads. Excuse me. You can get their elbow pads. You can get their new mask straps, the new ProFlex ears. The code works for all of that. Like we said, everything but just markers. What's going on with you, PJ? What's up?
I'm tired.
You look like you're fucking tired.
I'm tired all the time. That's why I did the generic Discord blur on the background because this room is a disaster. And I didn't feel like cleaning it tonight.
Yeah, you look like shit.
I feel better because I got my hair cut finally. Holy shit! I went like 3 months without a haircut. I feel like a new man now. But I just laid Noah down for the night. Jamie got Jacob to sleep, and we're going on a little day trip tomorrow. So figure let's just go ahead and bang this bitch out tonight, so that I don't get home real late and
Have to record super late.
be more
Yeah.
tired than I am now.
Where you headed to?
We're just going to the beach for the day.
Oh, okay, cool. You know, you could have came down to Tybee Island or something to hit us up. We all could have went, but no. Anywho,
Fuck that.
Anywho, this is going to go back to our roots. Going back to a topic episode. We have no guest tonight. It's not a pre-game. It's not a post-game. We're going to be talking about field owners in the community. This is a topic that I've been wanting to talk about for a hot fucking minute. It can kind of get me fired up, just like the BST conversations that we have, but it's really getting under my skin here locally. I mean, I'll go ahead and basically put whoever on blast. I don't really fucking care anymore, but hoppers right now, how I used to praise hoppers all the fucking time, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. It used to be the mecca down here. It used to be the place to go fucking play paintball. Now it's turned to shit, man.
Yeah.
And when I mean turned to shit, it's like they were able to get new bunkers after that debacle with they try to say that it was like wildlife chewing on the fucking bunkers, yada yada. But after looking at it, like there's like some of it looks like little teeth marks and everything on most of them, but there's a good bit of the like Doritos and stuff where it just looks like it got ran over by a landscaping company
Yeah.
or someone wasn't paying attention with a weed eater or something
Yeah.
that has like the metal attachments or whatever. Um, that got fixed, and now nobody treats the grass that's growing under the AstroTurf, and there's ant hills all over the fucking place. Like it's just like the upkeep that we used to do is just it's gone to shit down there, dude. And you have a manager up there. For those that do play at Hoppers, they know who I'm talking about. I'm not gonna name drop, even though I just said I don't give a shit, but I will give that courtesy. Uh, it's it's not even a love hate relationship. It's like all hate. Everything goes down to like Christian went down there like a few months ago to go do drills one Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
You know, good on him, right? No, he got told that he couldn't go down there on Saturdays. That speedball's not open on Saturdays.
Since
That he gave like a handful of excuses, right?
yeah.
But who always blows up the fucking field? The players. Who always deflates the field? the players.
The field people do nothing for the speedball field down there that I've seen. Um,
Nope. But I mean, they built the pits and everything, right? Like that's fucking good. They're
yeah,
good pits. They got the
there's
Overwatch on the container. That's
yeah.
to overlook the field. Great, right?
Yeah,
But
the people on the YouTube are about to get a I'm about to minimize this out. Just make sure we're still recording because I still don't have. All right, we're good. I don't have my dual monitor set up. I have not cared to do that yet. But anyways, continue.
it's it's a hassle, man. It's ridiculous, and I've heard stories from other field owners. We've had our own personal run with field owners back in the day. What was it, like 2009, 2008, when ACP went to shit when that Jody dude took over?
It was about '08, something like that. Think about you had that '08 American flag ego around that time. So yeah,
I would have to say '08, yeah, because it shut down and I moved away when the '09 came out.
yeah. So back up.
Yeah.
Why the fuck can't you go out there and do drills on a Saturday?
It, because he's saying, like, one excuse was we don't have anybody to blow up the bunkers. I'm like, what the fuck? And then like,
If I'm doing drills, I'm blowing up like 6 bunkers or so. I'm not even blowing the whole field up.
but even that, man, you know what I mean? Even if I wanted to blow up just the snake to practice down crawling down the fucking snake, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Who fucking cares? Like, I'm buying a case of paint from you, and we now pay a field fee versus what we used to pay for the local team, like the home team, right?
yeah,
Um, Prices went up, which I understand. Like, first and foremost, it's a business. It's always a business first, right? You know what I mean? Like, it's like, unless you're a fucking millionaire, you don't just have a field just to have fun.
yeah.
You have a paintball field to make a little bit of money, but then you can also enjoy the communities and yada yada. That's a whole different fucking
You have a
episode.
paintball field because you like losing money.
Yeah, for real. But I I wish I could remember every excuse that they told Christian, because it was Christian and his girl went down there to go do drills, and he's like, "No, you can't do it on a Saturday."
I'd have been pissed.
And oh, he was pissed because
I
he
fucking come here every weekend, and now I can't come in here and spend, $40 to $50 on a case of paint and go down there and do drills. And I'm gonna blow the field up. I'm gonna deflate it. Y'all have to do nothing. You're telling me I can't go down there?
pretty much, dude. They're
No.
telling him that you can't go down there. You can't touch a bunker. Like, you can't do anything. Like, essentially, like, it's closed, just because it came off to me as somebody was just in a pissy mood for whatever fucking reason and closed it off. The players, like us included down there, the speedballers down there, got uh, basically blamed for shooting the pits. Like, you know, when you walk into the pits and it has the chrono station in the middle
Yeah.
that they built, where the fill station is, and yada yada. So they're shooting the outer walls. For those that are on the YouTube side of it, they're shooting the outer walls that host the benches and the fucking the actual staging areas on each
Mm-hmm.
side of that,
Yeah.
like the home and the way. And he was trying to say that we were down there shooting that. We got blamed for shooting houses one time. We got blamed for leaving trash everywhere. And every single time that these blames and these accusations have come up, they've been proven wrong instantly by some of his own fucking referees, right?
Yeah.
It shouldn't come to that. Like, I don't give a fuck if you have a vendetta against speedballers because you're just not cut out to play fucking speedball, or if you go to tell stories about what the fuck ever and you get called out on your bullshit, or no one just really fucking cares and your feelings get hurt. There's no reason to hold a grudge. And but like, just to me personally, that's how it's coming off.
Yeah.
And it's hurting business because the guys that are still playing, they're wanting to go down to fucking GTF and Yulee, Florida to go play there instead of be local here and play at Hoppers.
It's a nice facility. That's a shame.
It's a great
I
facility.
love going over there to play when I do play. I hadn't played in like over a year now, but um, it's I've praised it multiple times on this show. It's you get down there to the airball field. It's set up at the time. It was set up real nice turf, very well taken care of. New set of bunkers, nice pits. It was a very like professional setting. It felt like a nice setup. You know,
We
like
had teams out of town wanting to come
yeah,
practice us when we
yeah,
were Georgia Extreme.
and it's disappointing because like I said, I haven't been down there in a while. Life happens, but I haven't been there in a long time. But it's disappointing to hear that it sounds like for no fault to the guys that you play with that it's gone downhill like that.
It's absolutely no fault to the guys that are still going down. Even the Titans, like, um, there is some disconnect between the Port City guys and Titans, right?
Yeah,
Like it just seems like outsider looking in, it seems that there's no common ground, and it's just like kind of like how we hit that wall with Chaos back in the day. You know what I mean? Like everybody was playing with Fracture, and like we didn't give a shit about getting our shit pushed in by the Ivy brothers or
yeah,
A Hole or Price Dollars or whoever, but um, Chaos did. Chaos didn't like the way that essentially Jim and them would talk to them, and it's the same scenario. Um,
grow up. They're better than
yeah,
you.
trust me.
They're the daddy team. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Grow up. I mean, just
Yeah.
fucking
Well,
do better.
it ain't even just that, man. It's mainly like the atmosphere is not the same, and it
Yeah,
fucking sucks.
yeah.
And
That's huge
that's
too.
another problem. Every single field that I have called home,
It's your fault.
something like that. I'm the bad luck Chuck, I guess. Um, but it's happened. It happened in Florence. It happened at ACP. It happened in El Paso. But there was just like one individual, right? And one individual was causing some issues. He left for a long time, came back, and then was like, "Hey, I'm sorry." Fixed his issues, right?
Yeah, at least he held himself
Field owner
accountable.
Gandhi, Gandhi, who owns it in El Paso, amazing dude. I've never met a nicer field owner. Like he always hooked me up throughout the day, right? He actually made me want to go out there and play. It just sucked that for the longest time they were wanting to play the USXBL,
Mm.
and my first experience with that was trash. So I would go out there and still practice whenever I could, and then I would go play with VM. That's when I started playing with VM flagship and shit.
Hmm.
So I was out there with Chris Cox playing with him, and I think I played one tournament with TDSM, and it was essentially a shit show, but it didn't change the fact that we went back home, got to the grind, everybody's on the same page, but it was always the home team, right?
Hmm.
Think back to our days where it was us after Cruelty fell apart, which was a joke. That
That
was
was a
our own little fucking
fucking.
team.
That was a joke. That was a
Fracture fell
waste of
apart.
time.
Yeah, Chaos fell apart essentially. Um, Aftermath, like all the heavy hitters, all the other teams that were there, because there was like 4 or 5, maybe 6 teams that played there at ACP,
I
and
wouldn't call Florence Aftermath a heavy hitter team.
well, you know what I mean. But they were
Yeah,
a
they were a competitive team.
they were competitive, but they were consistently out there. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? They were the
yeah.
locals. Um, Timmy, the field owner, made sure that everybody was taken care of. Like we've told it on this podcast before. Even though we had a bad run in with him, on our fucking first 3-man, our first speedball tournament ever,
Oh
when he thought I was
yeah,
talking, when he
yeah.
thought I was talking shit. Um, he turned out to be a very great guy. You know what I mean? He always helped us out.
I like
If
Timmy. Yeah,
He was a solid dude.
yeah.
Like I said,
Look,
hey man, I don't have enough money to play this weekend. Can I do something? Can I like wash the field, or can I like cut your grass or do anything? Like I was cutting the grass around the you remember that awning that we would always stage under,
yeah.
that carport?
Hmm.
I cut around the edge. He came out there to stop and he's like, hey man, I don't need anything else, man. He's like, you're always out here busting your ass, even when you have money to play. here's 2 cases of fucking paint. Give you and
Yeah.
Lee come out here next weekend and play. I was like,
Like fucking
thanks.
evil marbles.
Yeah, but like it was paint. We got to play, right? You don't have that anymore from what I've seen,
Not around
especially
here.
but like not around here, but like also there's so many different factors like cost of living's different. The amount of people that are playing is different. You know what I mean?
The mentality is also different because there's a lot of
Yes.
people that carry a sense of entitlement, and sometimes on this show I myself sound entitled because I've made the comments to where, like, I don't feel like I should be the only one blowing up your field and setting up layouts and shit like that, because
Right.
the reason I feel that way is the same thing that Moon Pie said on their podcast back a couple years ago when that was still an active podcast. But
It's dues, right?
yeah, but he was saying, he's like, I put my time in. I worked on these fields, for 10 years or so. So,
Right.
and I agree with what he says, and I feel the same. I don't mind going out and helping. I go out to Hoppers, and usually I get there a little bit later when I do go, because I have to drive 2 hours up here, but or down there rather. But I don't mind, like, if I get there and they're like, "Hey, we need to move some bunkers," that's fine. I don't care. But you go to some of these other fields and it's like, all right, you're the only one that showed up today. If you want to do anything, you have to blow it all up. You have to set it up and you have to take it back down. And I'm like, dude, I don't want to do that shit no more. But
And then after you blow it up, people start showing up too.
yeah, but and that makes me sound a little bit entitled in a sense, but a lot of people probably don't understand where I'm coming from. But the younger generation than myself, I'm 32, so a lot of people these days just feel like the world owes them something. So if they don't have it to go play, some of these kids probably just think like, oh, if I'm good, they should just give me stuff anyways. They're not gonna go offer to go work on the field or offer to go ref a Saturday. They're not gonna make the offer because they feel like they should be given the shit to do it. And that's just, just take Dynasty for example. One of if not the greatest teams we've ever experienced in this sport so far. You know, watch them after a win. The whole fucking team, Alex and all of them, they go out there and they start deflating the field at NXL.
Yeah.
The NXL has staff that does that shit. They go out there and they squeegee bunkers and deflate the field and shit because that's just they
Times.
they carry a sense of just I don't even know what the word I'm looking for is, but they're not too good and they're not beyond doing shit like that, and neither should these fucking kids or
They're grounded. They're level headed.
yeah, even people our age, people our age would be like, that are new to the sport, they've never cut their teeth on anything like that. Oh well, I'm here. They should just give it to me. Nobody owes you a fucking thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That's
no.
just a fact.
And the whole sense of entitlement's not even on just the paintball community. It's fucking everywhere else you go.
Oh yeah.
Um, just like how me and you were discussing offline about a mask strap that I have up for sale. And
Yeah.
yeah,
You
like this
fucking
dude is just
scalper piece of shit.
no, no. I was going to use this one. It's not the M4. It's not the one that I bought. More than one of. I have plans for those, but because I think you got me this one by accident, didn't you?
Yeah, you wanted the hot rod one, and I ordered two of those.
Yeah. Um,
Oops.
but uh, but regardless, the dude's coming off entitled, and you can't have that type of mentality and try to grow the sport, right? And the same thing with these fucking field owners. You can't have a dude running your field that's just running your fucking players in the ground now, or not in the ground, but essentially running them out.
Running them away.
Yeah, running them away, and then I meant to say running your field into the ground.
Yeah,
But like the
that's what
recreational side, they're doing fine
that's what
because
happened
we
to
all
Fishville.
know. Yeah, well, we all know that fucking speedballers don't pay your bills. 90% of the time, if you have a paintball field, it's not the tournament players that pay your bills and make you money. It's it's the birthday parties, it's the fucking family events and
Yeah,
shit like
well,
that. Like how I used to take our platoon and our company
yeah,
to Hoppers every Friday.
speedballers aren't buying rentals and shit for the day
Yeah,
and
you know what
stuff.
I mean? But like I said before, like I understand it's a business, but you're scaring away your fucking customers. So how are you going to have a business when you're scaring away like the majority of your fucking customers too? Because if we're paying a fucking field fee now, right? When I go to Hoppers, I have to pay a field fee.
I'm a customer.
Why the fuck am I blowing up the goddamn field if I'm paying a field fee? Why am I blowing up your bunkers? Why am I cutting your fucking grass? Because there's been twice now I went there and got a little bit earlier than everybody and took my fucking weed eater and cut down that fucking grass on the turf.
Yeah,
And then around the pits and shit. And then I was like, you know what? I might as well cut the other fucking side around the fucking bleachers because it's just fucking knee high and it looks like ass.
yeah,
But it's it's pretty fucking sad that when you have people that are local would rather drive like an hour and 45 minutes, roughly maybe 2 hours down south to GTF in Florida to play their fucking field rather than just stay in their own fucking backyard and play because it's just such a fucking nightmare.
yeah. I mean, look what happened to Bishopville. Carolina Crisis and all them used to play there. They fucking packed up, went to Rock Hill. The Warriors were playing there. They pissed the Warriors off so bad. It was essentially the same shit. They're like, all right, you guys are paying the field fee, and they're like, no, the fuck we're not. We'll make our own field because they were doing the same thing. They were paying field fees and having to maintain the field, and they're like, why are my guys paying, $15 a day each in field fees? On top of now we're having to pay for all day air. That was never a thing for them. And then, they're not getting any kickbacks on paint for being like a home field team, whatever. Um, why do I feel like I need to do all this shit? And this just it's kind of a give and take. Like I understand you have to make money somehow, but you know your rec ballers aren't going to be out there maintaining your yard. Your guy behind the counter is not going to be out there maintaining the fucking yard. 9 times out of 10, your fucking speedball guys. Look at us when we were playing in Florence. We would go out there and do shit to the little hyperball field. They'd be like, hey, let's move this around a little bit. Let's move that around a little bit so the rec ballers can have something different when they come back. Now, never once did I set foot on the woods field. I never went in the woods there, so I couldn't tell you what it was like. The airsofters.
I think it's pretty small.
The airsofters that went in there loved it. They were gay, but they would always talk. But anyways, and then how many times were we going? We were going out there and weed eating the field and patching nets and shit like that. And we never got charged a field fee because that was the mutual agreement. Y'all come out here and help us with this. Just buy your paint. That's all you have to do is buy paint. I'm not going to charge you air. I'm not going to charge you field fee. Fuck, sometimes Timmy didn't even charge us for Gatorades. I'd go in there and be like, hey, here's $2. He'd be like, don't worry about it. It'd be 150 degrees outside. I'm out there washing bunkers with a pressure washer.
Done cutting the field. You know what I mean? We just got done cutting
He'd be like,
grass.
don't worry about it, dude. He'd be like, take two. Because I would,
Yeah.
I would never go in there and be like, hey, I'm getting one of these. Like I did those French bread pizzas at Liberty. I fucking cleaned that refrigerator out of French bread pizzas that day. Them fuckers were so good. But I was also
See, we didn't do any of that at Liberty,
no,
and he never charged us field fee there for a while because
that's why he shut down. He didn't get his $10 every week.
Well, he was trying to build it up, right?
Yeah.
And then it just didn't work out that way. And then
That's good.
we had our fucking run-ins with Jody when he bought the field from Timmy, and that was the steady like downward spiral of our home field of Carolina paintball for us.
I didn't really have any run-ins with Joey. Your problem was his stepson or whatever.
Yeah, or was it his No, it was his actual
That's his
son.
actual
I believe
son.
it was.
Yeah, Brandon was a stepson.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that was your deal. Was that dude and just writing your shit down. Writing shit down for him on your tab and stuff. That's. And it's
Clear as day too,
and
man.
it's his word against yours. Daniel got 2 cases last weekend. Daniel wasn't even fucking here. He was in Bennettsville. Yeah.
But um, but like you can't. That's part of my point, man. You can't have a business if you don't have a fucking tight grip on it. You just can't let
Yeah.
certain people do whatever the fuck they want. When you have the players coming to you as a field owner and be like, "Hey, we have this wrong, we have this wrong, this is stupid, this shouldn't be a thing for us." Like, unless you give us like what your business plan is, like, I mean, you don't have to. You don't have to share like, "Well, I want to make X amount of dollars here, here, here." They don't have to do it. It's their business. They can tell you to go fucking kick rocks. But if you want to build that relationship, right, and you
Yeah.
want to make your business grow, you want to make that community grow, the locals come to your fucking field. What's happening at Hoppers right now is not it.
Yeah, you
It's
have
it's definitely not.
the
On
same
the
group of
speedball side. On
yeah,
the speedball side.
you had the same group every weekend of men and women, and they them's like Dylan, and they come out they come out every weekend, the same people, the same group. They bring
Hey, he
in
identifies as retarded.
they bring in people from out of town, out of state. That's 10, 20 cases extra right there that you're selling. Oh, excuse
Well,
me.
it ain't even that. Like another thing he was saying was the speedball field's not making any money. You only had like 4 or 5 people last weekend. We only had like maybe 8 people last weekend, and we're like,
It's not
bro, there
costing
was
you any fucking money either.
no, it ain't even that. It's like, bro, last weekend we had almost like 30 fucking people here. Like, what do you mean you only had like 8 people? Like, there's no way that you're not fucking making money. Like, there's so many fucking red flags on how this dude is running the field. It's not the field owner, it's the manager.
Why is he still
And
there?
I could not fucking tell you because I'll
Have
tell
we
you right
talked to
now,
the owner?
I'm pretty sure they have. I know like Wes and Chuck have like the seniors have sit down and tried to
Seniors.
discuss.
You called Chuck old. Chuck is
Yeah,
like 72.
I'd say a crisp 70,
Yeah. Chuck.
maybe. He is Air Force, so
Well, he got a
but
good back for that desk job. Love
but
Chuck.
yeah, shout out to Chuck one time. But it just pisses me off because like I'm already out like 1 foot out the door here of Georgia because like we said before, in December I'm out of the states. I'm out of the continental US. I'm going to South Korea for about 2 years. And
Holy shit!
oh my god, it's got zero. But damn it. But it like knowing what this field was like a year or two ago and seeing how it is now, it's just like, dude, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And I don't see it lasting unless a drastic change. I mean, a drastic fucking change happens. I don't see it changing.
I mean,
And
think of it like a company you work for. You've been military forever, so it's a little different. You can still have, dips in morale in the military, but think of like a 9 to 5 job with a shitty manager. Nobody wants to go there. Nobody wants to, invest their time. Nobody wants to bring any kind of morale booster because that just the shitty manager is just gonna kill it for everybody. So apply that to your paintball field, and
yeah,
it's always there's always at least one. It don't matter if at work, your favorite fucking hobby, if you play with the same group of people all the time, there's always one person at minimum that ruins shit for everybody. So if you can identify that one person, he's pushing away some of your most loyal customers, even though he claims they're not making any money off of them or whatever. They're there every fucking weekend. They blow up that field. And how many times have we been down there and it's fucking 10 guns up off the break, 4 or 5 points back to back, and all those little rec ballers want to know, damn, what's all this noise down here? And then they start walking their little asses down there with their Titmans. They want to play.
it's already happened. We let some
happens
of
all
them
the
play
time.
like, yeah, dude. And then they start coming out every other weekend. Hey, can I play speedball with you guys? Yeah,
Yeah.
jump in, dude. Absolutely.
You're gonna get fucking wrecked, but yeah, get on the field.
Yeah, but like some of them don't even fucking care. Like, oh, this is fucking fun. This is
Yeah.
way more of an adrenaline rush than fucking Nuketown over there. But
Yeah.
like,
Nuketown is cool like twice, and then you're like, done it, seen it, done it.
yeah, I didn't mind it just for the sure fact. Every time I played, it was playing against my my peers and shit, and some of my subordinates and whatnot. And I got to shoot the shit out of them like
Yeah.
very easy. But it
Excuse me.
I know. So a dude that works in my shop, his name we call him G. Um, G stands for gay because he plays airsoft. He wants me to play
Hey,
airsoft with him so
it's
bad. I
June.
just
It's
can't do it.
Pride Month, so shout out to him with his fucking airsoft.
Yeah,
I hope he's
but
listening. Queer
he's a really chill dude, right?
bitch.
But
No, I'm just playing. Shout out to G one time.
it's the fucking every Saturday they play airsoft. I guess they go out there on Saturdays and I don't know if it's like once a month, every weekend. I don't fucking know. But um the field is able to host paintball and airsoft, which I think is fine, right?
It's in the name.
It's yes, it is, but it's also another way to help bring in revenue for the field.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you start coming up with some stupid shit with like the airsofters, like oh, you have to use fuck, I don't know, biodegradable fucking BBs. I don't fucking know, just something stupid. I don't know what rules go back and forth for airsoft, but you start driving them away because your manager is just like on this fucking ego trip and he doesn't like anybody else other than his fucking woodball people, his rec ball, his fucking birthday parties.
Airsofters, y'all cannot kiss each other in the mouth mid match. Oh man,
Man,
we're out.
I know G does that ass to mouth shit all the
No, I'm
time.
just playing.
But
Am I?
like you get my point though. Like
Oh
I've
yeah. You
kind of getting
cannot
fucking derailed.
you cannot cater to just one specific group of people because that's who you identify with if you're in a business that has several different facets. Your hoppers, paintball and airsoft. Paintball is not just fucking woods ball. It's not just speedball. So you have a woods field, you have two or three little rec fields with Nuketown and like some shit with barrels and little houses or whatever. I don't care. You have your speedball field, and everybody can here's Pride Month coexist together. You know, so why do you feel the need to exclude or just kind of pick at two groups of people and leave your one group alone when they probably generate no more revenue than the speedball people?
Yeah, like I have no desire to sit there and ask him and be like, "Hey, let me see your fucking receipts. Let me see
Yeah.
what your statements are." But like, that's none of my fucking business. I don't care. But what I do want to see is like progress. And when I say progress, I mean money being invested back into the field, which it's happening, right? When you're walking down to the speedball field, you got like it's Nuketown. There's like a big ass castle, and then
Yeah.
like the little village or whatever. Well, a lot of those buildings got like new plywood put up. Like I love to see that because it shows progress. And they're still doing like new construction further down. I don't know if they're still putting another speedball field. I don't know if they're putting hyperball. I would say hyperball because you could get the coagulated pipe or whatever the fuck it's called, make your hyperball field,
Corrugated pipe. Is that what it is?
corrugated pipe, something like that. But
Coagulate is like when
oh
liquid
yeah, like your
starts
fucking
turning
blood.
solid, don't it?
Oh my god, stroke.
Yeah.
But fucking regardless what the fuck it's called, like that would be a smart move.
When it cooperates.
Fucking they did that in El Paso. God, they did that in El Paso. He put some hyperball stuff up and he started getting a little bit new players to come play that shit. You know, and he started making a little bit of money.
You have to do that to avoid some sort of burnout.
Yeah.
It's the same reason. Well, I say the same reason. I guess you could say that we changed the layouts on tournaments. If you had the exact same layout, which basketball, two goals, football, two end zones, they kind of keep the same thing. But as far as paintball, if we had the same layout for the last 10 or 15 years, don't you think that'd be kind of fucking boring in a way? Like,
Oh yeah,
You
one
know,
hundred
half
percent.
half of the fun for me is watching the pros figure it out. You know, blind layouts, you watch them figure it out live. You know, prepared layouts, like, you know, a week or two drop. You know, we can see who's had more time on the field or who's processed the information better. I, as a fan, enjoy that. So, as a field owner, you know, it's a lot harder for them than it is for like the NXL, because NXL can just pull stakes and move bunkers around. When you have hard structures like these castles and shit, you know, it's difficult to move those things. That's why, you know, when Timmy had those barrels, those like 6 stacks of barrels and the water coolers and shit, you know, that stuff wasn't that hard. It was fairly light to move that shit around for the most part. So it wasn't that terrible, but like, you know, it's you have to keep the I was gonna say keep the spark alive, but that's not what I wanted to say at all.
Pride
But
Month.
you can leave it like for a little while, and then, you know, in my opinion, if you know, just take a Saturday or Friday or whatever, take a fucking Thursday where you don't have no customers. You know, just you're shut down on Thursday, um, and you know, just completely rearrange one of your fields, or have some new structures ready to go in there, and then make a big deal about it. You know, have it up in the pro shop. Field 2 is now this, and this. You know, we've done this. This is a before. This is an after. Go check it out. Blow it up on your socials. You know, um, but you have to do that for all of the people that you target. Hey, airsofters, it's June. Happy Pride Month. So we got rainbows. We got rainbow cakes hidden in the damn field back here. Y'all can go find them. You know, but uh, airsofters. I'm just playing. Let me stop beating up on airsoft homos. But speedballers. I put a round table down there at the field for all of you to sit down and bitch and complain about something together. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
we can all complain about scalpers and then do exactly what we're complaining about together. You know, so it's just you in that situation you have to cater to everybody,
To the
unless
masses. You get to every
unless you
single
have
body.
somebody unless you have a group of people that are just putting you into fucking negatives constantly. And, you know, for him to say he doesn't make any money on your speedball, you're not going into negatives. The bunkers are paid for. You know, it's not like you have to pay separate.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
Sometimes field have like payment plans for bunkers and shit.
Well, I'm talking about y'all situation.
I would assume it's paid for,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's paid for. So then it's not like they have to pay separate taxes on that piece of property that the speedball field sits on. It's on the entire, you know, it's butted up to the rest of the property. So if you guys don't run that day, it costs them $0. If you do run that day, the only thing it costs them is a little bit of gas in the blowers, and half the time y'all bring your own fucking blowers.
It's always us.
So what is
It's
it?
always us.
What
Half
does
the
it
time,
cost? Because
I take my own fucking blower. I bought one, right?
yeah,
I went to Home Depot and bought a fucking, I think it's a Ryobi or something, gas powered fucking air blower to blow up the field because we had issues with the other blowers not fucking working. So I was like, I'll just go buy my own. I will use it around my fucking driveway in my house anyway when I do yard work.
yeah.
But I could double tap it and go take it to me with a practice and go fucking blow the
So
field up.
let's just say y'all have. Let's just say we have a good weekend. 20 people show up, right? I'm
Mm-hmm.
not good at math. 20 people. Let's say a case of paint's $40. You're giving y'all $40 cases of paint.
45.
$45. So that's $90 for 2 cases. Most people are shooting 2 cases. So 20 people buying 2 cases of paint at $90. That's $1,800 in paint sales. Now I don't know what they pay. So let's just say they're getting the cases for $20 a case, and they're charging you for 45, or charge. Let's say charging you for 40. So just divide that in two. That's 900. That's $900 they've made on a Sunday. Allegedly, you know, the math is not there. I understand that, but just roundabout, they've made $900 in just paint sales. Y'all have blown the field up. You've maintained it. Chances are y'all have maintained the field. Where is the disconnect here? They did
I,
not
I,
they did not go in the
I
hole
couldn't
nine
tell
hundred
you.
dollars because y'all went down there to play.
No. And
bitch.
Like I understand, like they put money into the structures down there and whatnot because there used to be like none, but like
Which is very
he
nice, by the
hosted
way. That's a super
it.
nice setup down there.
It is, and it's a fucking shame that it's just fucking going down right now, and like like dude, I don't even fucking care honestly if somebody goes fucking bitching and whining to like individuals like, oh fucking Daniel said this, Daniel said that. Like I don't fucking care, man.
What are they gonna do?
And ban me from hoppers. Oh no. Like it ain't like I'm fucking playing right now any fucking way.
Yeah.
But
That's gonna be so fun if you get a ban, dude.
I don't fucking
I'll
care.
fucking make a wanted poster for you.
I'll go get a fake beard and just
Yeah.
walk by it every fucking time. But it's it's just so annoying because like obviously this is a paintball podcast, right? Obviously I love paintball. I love what I
Sometimes.
do. Yeah. I love watching it. I love the fucking like progression that these products do. Like we went from like this to a fucking a toolless assembly, a Lux. You know what I mean? Like you don't need a fucking tool to take it apart and service your fucking stuff. But um some of the closest friends I've made through was paintball. And like all my fucking fond memories with like you and Lee from paintball. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Even Luke, rest in peace. Like all our funny fucking memories are from paintball. And like yes, there's plenty of other paintball or non paintball related stories that I have with these friends and everything, but I could we could use ABP as another perfect fucking example as bad ownership of a paintball field.
Yeah.
You had your fucking son stealing shit. You had your fucking oh, this is all allegedly, right? Um, you had other players that were basically kissing your ass to try to get a manager spot, and it was just like straight ass, dude. And every time that something came up for the scenario event, like I had to ref it. I refed I think six of those fucking things. I got to play like two. Um, he went and bought a camera because at the time I had photography going on, and
Oh.
yeah, and I was taking pictures for his website and shit for free. Like this is something that like somebody would normally charge about 800 fucking dollars for at the time, and like I went and fucking wrote articles for his website and shit. I didn't get a single fucking credit for it. I didn't get any like not even a fucking pat on the back. I got you did what you were supposed to do for me because you play for me and I provide X, Y, and Z. Never got any fucking discount from the dude. Never got any help whatsoever um on gear or anything. Like we were supposed to be sponsored by Draxus when it was ABP Last Rights.
Yeah.
We paid fucking retail. And then come to find out, when we paid retail, he only had to pay the sponsorship price.
Yeah.
So he pocketed that fucking difference. You know, bad ownership,
Good
man. And,
businessman. Bad
and
ownership.
yeah, but like look at the fucking field now. It's non-existent.
Yeah.
So like it's a fucking tragedy because that place used to be like the place to go to because Fracture used to play out there too. There was like several other like big named there was an Authority from CFA back in the day. They played out there,
Yeah. Port
and
City
it's
Militia played out there. They were a
for
big,
scenario, yeah.
yeah, big scenario group.
But even when Fracture turned to the scenario side, they played out there and shit. You know,
Yeah.
like it's just
That was a cool
it's a
field.
fucking it was. But he never put any money back into the speedball field. He had
Yeah.
the outdated bunkers and shit like that, but it still expected you to fucking go play the CFA when the CFA was still like going on and whatnot. Like no, dude, like you're not in the the driver's seat for everything essentially. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But I could go on and on and on about this, man. It just fucking I wanted to get it off her chest about essentially just bad field ownership and bad management. And Hoppers doesn't have bad ownership; it just has bad management.
Yeah.
The dude that's running it right now is running in the ground on the speedball side, like I've said before.
We had
There
a
can be
we had a similar conversation to this. It was like episode 6 maybe. I'm going to look 'cause now if I nailed that, it's like god tier. But it was that episode called Field Talk, and
yeah.
it was essentially kind of like this, but damn, episode 6. How the fuck did
I'll,
I remember
I'll
that?
send you a sticker pack.
How the fuck did I remember that? Episode
But
6
you
was
can't. But
Field
you
Talk.
can't remember the current one that we're on.
No, hell no. But anyways, yeah, we had a similar conversation to this, and I don't really remember much from that. But it was more along the lines of, how would we operate the field and things like that. But no, um, yeah, you did go on a tangent about, your current situation in this episode, but it translates as a whole to the community, because you hear horror stories about fields all the time. You hear good stories too. Like people go to like Paintball Fit. Paintball Fit's one of the greatest fields in the country. You know what I mean? The Lucal family, they treat everybody so well. Allegedly, I've never been. I'm just, from just reading through Discord and Facebook and Instagram and stuff. Fields like that, people can really take a note out of their notebook and apply that. You know, it doesn't get much more paintball than Paintball Fit down there. Giant Party Sports. I've heard good things about that field, but it's just it's how do you get rid of that bad apple when the owner? It's essentially what happened to well, it was vice versa what happened to Bishopville. Bishopville, the manager was fucking kick ass, and I'm sorry, I forget that dude's name, but he was the shit. He was putting his own money into like the stuff in the woods, shit like that. He was putting his own money into fixing the rental guns, and he was going out there not getting paid. And the owner was like, "Nope, you're not getting nothing from me." So when the manager quit, they couldn't really get nobody else to do what he was doing. Dude was going above and beyond, and then it shut down. And there were some people inquiring about buying that property and everything, and he was like, "I'm not going to sell it for a penny less than like $900,000. You'll never get a penny less than that." A fucking dude I worked with, like 22 years old, bought that bitch on foreclosure for like $100,000 or something like that.
Yeah.
All of it. Now they auctioned off like the equipment and the compressors and stuff, but when he got it, the little pro shop was still standing, the nets and the poles were still standing, all the shit was still in the woods, the Valken bunkers were piled up, in the corner, the sun dry rotted, and there was nothing left of them. I tried to get them, but they were done, too far gone. But yeah, he got that shit for like dirt ass cheap, and that dude refused to sell it as a paintball field to somebody that we know, because he was like, "Oh, you'll never get this. I have this much money invested into it." Well, it fucking got foreclosed on, and now dude's turning it into his hunting property, and he lives out there.
Yeah, dude. Like
Yeah,
you fucking lost
yeah.
lost that one.
He's lost. Apparently, that guy's lost a bunch of businesses. He's a fucking terrible businessman. But yeah, in our years, and I haven't had a very long stint in paintball. I had a couple good years, and then I quit for a while, and then came back. But we've seen our fair share of good and bad. Um, and some people might say, well, if y'all know how to do it so well, then open your own. And that's what we're doing here today. We're announcing the Center 50 Sports Complex. No, I'm just playing. We're fucking too broke for that.
No, I got. There's no fucking way I
Yeah.
could do my
Dude,
job and run
dude,
a
I
fucking
would
field like
love to. I
that.
tell Jamie all the time. There's like 3 or 4 places in town when we're riding around, like where Jacob goes and plays baseball, and then he plays soccer at a different field. I'm like, oh my god, that'd be a perfect spot for a field. That'd be a perfect spot for a field. But I'm
I
like,
do the same shit down here.
but I'm like, fuck, dude, that is every weekend that you're dealing with that shit. There's no free time. So shout out shout out to the ones that do deal with that and they maintain their composure. And you really have to fucking love paintball to do that, because you have
Absolutely.
to deal with people like us every weekend who bitch and complain about stuff. But on the flip side of that coin, if you don't really love it that much, this sport is so niche and so small, and it's one of those deals where when you're involved so heavily in it, everybody knows everybody. Fucking go to Red versus Blue. We're going to see like 7 or 8 people that we know right off the rip from
Yep.
fucking 20 years ago. You know what I mean? So yeah, everybody knows everybody. So if you don't love it and you're just miserable and you wake up on a Sunday and you dread going, then maybe you need to find something else to do as a manager. Because you're not doing your boss, the owner, any favors by running off a dedicated group of
Profit.
players.
You're running off profit.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, you don't buy the $10 Tipman rental. That's not going to work. Over half the day, the kids ain't gonna fucking shoot each other because the paint won't fly straight. But
But we're buying more paint than them
it's like I said, you guys are buying
because
more
that.
paint.
Yeah.
You're maintaining the field. They're not down there maintaining the field. Every time that I've gone down there, we blow it up. Except, I say we. I've blown that field up twice, but like the speedball players have it set up and ready to go when I get there. Nobody that staffed at the field is down there doing anything. They're not
Yeah.
refing. They're not refing. They're not cleaning bunkers. We're kind of in our own little world down there. So, like
It's
get
self-sustaining.
get off the dick. I mean, that's essentially what it boils down to. Like, go in the woods and find a stick, find the biggest stick you want, sit on it. I don't care, but don't sit here and shit on my parade because you just don't like what we're doing.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what fucking stick that dude's got up his ass, man. But it's not a good business model, and I fucking hate it. But um, I've seen ever since like I went and got serious about playing, right, as far as like much as field ownership goes, I've seen a lot of really good fields.
Yeah.
I've dealt with a lot of really good field owners. Like this dude that's running hoppers is the only one that I really had a fucking issue with in the past like fucking 10 years.
What are
And
you gonna
it's
do if this is his favorite paintball podcast ever and you're sitting here calling him out on it?
well, I guess we're no longer his favorite podcast. I don't give a shit.
Daniel, fuck you. PJ, I don't even know you. Fuck you too. I'm like, all right, man. Hey, cheers.
But like when I played in Clarksville, fucking I think his name was Chris Geiger. I don't know his last name's Geiger, but fucking
Not to be confused with Zach Geiger.
no, God no. Um this dude hated Nods so fucking bad that he purposely changed the Red Leg Tournament series that we were supposed to ref, right? Because it was part of our sponsorship agreement because he was hooking us up with like no field fee, no air, discounts on paint and gear and stuff like that, right?
You
He
fucking
was actually
sense of entitled ass army people.
anyway,
Do you
fucking
take a military discount?
any fucking way.
Oh,
Um he uh he wanted to basically give us the shaft because we broke off, played a different series that was playing in Louisville, Kentucky at Asylum and a few other fields called SEPs. It's like the Southeastern Paintball Series or some shit like
I
that.
thought you said sepsis. I was like,
Well,
oh.
I got sepsis, but we were winning, and he got fucking mad that we weren't winning with him. He's like, "Why are you winning by yourselves? But when you come play with us, like we're not winning." I was like, "Well, you don't listen to us." Blah 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 blah. We tell you like we need to do X, Y, and Z. You run the show. You don't let us make the calls. Blah 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 blah. So he would wait until Seps would drop their fucking schedule
Mm-hmm.
and then drop his to where we could not do both. We had to do one or the other. And then he basically said, if you go play Seps and you're still playing with me, you're done. So we're like, all right, bye.
That's
We weren't
gay.
fucking winning with you anyway. But then Chance had some fucking run-ins with him. He's had his own fucking personal issues
All
with
right,
him and
hear me
shit.
out.
Yeah, fucking like I'm not gonna put Chance's business out there, but fucking it was not professional. It was not how it should have been handled. And then this fucker took their dues because I stopped playing for him. Period. Um, he took their team dues and bought like a fucking lawnmower. They canceled Cup and he bought like a fucking zero turn lawnmower. And they're like, well,
Nice.
if we're not playing Cup, where's our fucking dues? So they're gone. I got this nice lawnmower though.
Yeah.
Like shit like that, man. Like that field's no longer there. I think that field went under years ago. But
I see
the,
why.
yeah, but he's like another example because I think that's like the second time he's opened up the field and it's crashed.
Yeah.
Like, dude can't fucking do it. But it there's bad team owners, there's bad fucking field owners, field managers, there's bad referees, and like it's just
It can't
in
all be
some shape
good,
or
or
form.
we wouldn't have nothing to
No,
talk about.
or bitch about. But
We're good at that.
I just hate the fact that paintball teams have to fucking deal with that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, because it's already a struggle enough of what we have to deal with on a daily basis, especially all the fucking controversy going on in the NXL now, and it's
Oh,
just like one
God.
thing after another, and basically dealing with what we're dealing with now is just it's not good, dude, because it's either gonna break a team apart because like, well, I'm not gonna fucking drive further down south. I'd rather go play 10-man. And somebody's already fucking said that. It's like if we gotta drive the U every weekend for practice, I'm out. I'll play fucking 10-man all the fucking
I mean,
time.
understandable. Everybody can't be all in. Like, if you're chasing like a pro spot, then yes, you need to be, as dedicated as much as you possibly can to it. But some people they're just doing this for kind of like leisure, like a sense of camaraderie, outside of work and normal life and like a disconnect. But life is hard for everybody right now. Shit is expensive.
Everybody's got different shit going
Yeah,
on.
you walk outside, it costs you $500 as soon as you walk out your front door. So yeah, I can
Yeah.
understand. I can understand not wanting to drive, an additional, what is it, 3 hours, 2 or 3 hours down there, something like that.
It's almost 2 hours to
Yes, so two
from here,
hours
from
one
my
way.
house, from
That
Fuller.
that's that would be like me driving to Hoppers every weekend. I'm not doing that. Fuck that.
I wouldn't expect you to.
People
Like
have
back in the
people have
day, it was
kids.
expected, right?
Yeah,
Like back in the day when we were first doing it, like who fucking cared if we were driving? I think me and Lee drove to Greensboro. He did it way more than I did, obviously, when he was playing with NC Hammer. Um,
excuse me.
I think it was like 7 hours,
Ra-
6 or 7 hour drive,
round trip
one way.
to Greensboro.
Let's see.
I'm
Let's
gonna
see.
I'm gonna look it up right now.
I know it was a long fuck. Let's say like because we'd always leave from his place.
I'm looking it up right now. Not Greenville. It's 151 miles from here.
Oh,
So
3 hours. My bad. So it
yeah,
was a total.
yeah,
It was
round
total.
trip.
Yeah,
I was
round
about to
trip
say,
was
you,
about
I was about to
six
say,
hours.
bitch, you were tripping because it's fucking
Yeah.
like 3.5, 4 hours to Tennessee.
Yeah, no, I would. It's 6 hours from Fort Campbell to Rianne's house, but
Yeah,
uh, I wish that everybody had uh, like we call it like blanket awards in the army where everybody gets awarded for the same shit if you go like on a deployment,
mm.
but it's like a business model for paintball fields, like a fucking an extensive like interview process, but like not everybody that's a decent human being wants to go run a paintball field. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So there's so many different fucking like factors that go into this thing, man. Like I don't want to really fucking beat a dead horse on this episode anymore. It fucking sucks that
yeah.
it's the state of the fucking things
And
right
you
now.
and you guys aren't the only one that has to deal with that shit.
Yeah.
That's just kind of the unfortunate. Just like I said earlier, we've seen good and we've seen bad. I've seen me personally. Uh, Probably more bad than good, honestly. Um, but they're out there. Look at people like Alex Martinez. You know what I mean? And the Lucal family. There's people out there. There's not many around here. Fucking Uncle Dave at Twisted right here by me in Darlington. Fucking jam up, dude. Uncle, he's the field owner. They're not like a open every Saturday and Sunday type field. Where they'll host rec ballers and stuff, but you kind of have to like, I don't know the exact process on that. I don't know if you have to get in contact with him or just catch them when they're there. They have some rental shit and stuff, and they were growing. That's another story that I'm not getting into. But Uncle Dave, real fucking jam. I wanna shout him out. David Turner. He's got his son Ethan plays on the Carolina Warriors. Ethan's jam up. Kind of real quiet guy, but real nice, cool. I've never had any run-ins with Ethan. He's always been very respectful to me and shit like that. He and Monkey play very well together. Matt, you could kind of say Matt was kind of like, he's more like the team guy versus the field guy, right? Kind of like a team manager type guy. He probably strikes some people different because he's very like blunt and don't give a fuck about what he said. He's very brutally honest, but I've never had no issues with neither of them. But some of the people they had some questionable people that used to be out there that I don't really see out there no more. You don't see them in the group chat no more either. But yeah, I forgot. I wanted to shout him out because Uncle Dave, he's worked with me on a couple of things. Like there was some dude, just for example, there was a guy I worked with. The dude was a piece of shit. He had like two Tippmann 98s, like the newer ones that have like the slotted top where you could put like the bullshit attachments and shit on. You know what I mean? And he was like, "Hey man, I want $200 a piece for these things." And I was like, "Well, I'll give you like $50 for both of them if they work." He's like, "I got the tanks and I got this." I was like, "I don't want any of that. Just give me the guns for $50." So I gave him $50, and I hit up Uncle Dave and I was like, "Hey, you want to trade both of these for like a case of paint, and you can just add them to your rental arsenal, and if they don't work, just let me know and I'll buy the case of paint." He's like, "Oh yeah, we'll do that." So I gave him the two guns. He gave me a case of paint, and I guess they work. He never said a word to me about it. If they didn't work, I don't know about it. I never aired them up, but he's always willing to do things like that. And for me, I'm not saying go down there and try to trade the man a gun for a case of paint, but yeah, just
the paint can I get for this?
yeah, yeah. But just super nice guy. Showed me how to work the compressors. Because like if I got there and there wasn't a whole lot of people there, and I wanted to air up my gun and shit, he's just very, very welcoming and accommodating. So I can't say enough good about him. If he's listening, hey, here's a salute for the YouTube. Shout out Uncle Dave.
Well, see, the owner of Hoppers is the same way.
Yeah.
One of the nicest dudes I ever met. Like I called him and I said, "Hey, uh,
I'm about to do a show about your field. Don't listen to it.
time out." But Mr. Bill's a stand-up dude, right? Fucking he's helped me out when the company was like, "Hey, we want to go play for our morale booster or whatever."
Bill was the manager at not your Bill, but that was the guy's
Yeah.
name that managed Bishopville. Bill.
Oh, so it just popped in your mind.
Yep. Yep.
But he's like hooked everybody up, like the military discount that you were talking about. But so for everybody to go, hey, he charged them $40, and $40 got them the full rental setup, no field fee, full rental setup, and a bag of 500 paintballs for $40 per person. That's not bad considering what the normal prices are.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know exactly what the prices are now, but I do know that they're $40. So any penny saved for like military people to go do that is, it's nice, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when we go do that, it was always on a Friday, and the manager was not there. It would either be Mr. Bill himself, and he was like, "Hey, I trust you. You govern these dudes up. I'll let you give like the safety briefs, blah blah blah." He's like, "You guys are fucking grown ass men. I trust you. I know you ain't gonna do anything wrong. You'll make sure everything's cleaned up. Blah blah blah
My
blah."
leg.
Never accused us of anything, right? just like what that manager has accused the speedballers of. He's never like side-eyed. It's just to me, it's fucking childish.
Yeah.
Honestly, like the whole grand scheme of things, everything that's happening at Hoppers right now, Port City guys, is childish. But I'll let you take us out, man. I don't have
Yeah.
anything else to say on this fucking
Yeah.
topic because
You
I'm
know
start.
our
I'm
you
gonna
know our
start
favorite
weekend.
saying, we don't want to beat the dead horse, and we'll beat the
Yeah.
dead horse just by saying that 4 or 5
Yep.
times. So, yeah, I don't know if I like this camera. It's got like a yellow tint to it, and I don't know if I like it. I took a shot on like a cheaper Amazon one that had good reviews. Cause
I'm gonna send you one.
fuck it, send me one. I don't care.
I'm gonna send you one.
Do it. But yeah, I mean it had good reviews, but nobody said it looked yellow. But
They
um,
were all
yeah, that's
yellow.
actually a good song. The more I got older, the more I appreciate that song. But anyways, um, yeah. So episode 92, not 90, than I thought. Yeah, just kind of a little shift in gears. Daniel's been kind of pondering on this for a little bit. He's really been wanting. This is essentially his episode. So, um,
It didn't go like the exact way I wanted it to go because I had other stuff planned out in my mind.
do we
But
need to
like,
stop and re-record?
no, no,
Because
no,
we're
no,
not
no,
doing that.
no, 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 no,
Y'all
no.
are gonna get this, and you're gonna fucking like it.
No, no. Hit it with the.
You serious?
Yeah. That
But
might be my favorite fucking sound clip.
I told you I'd get it on there.
Oh my
But
god.
fucking I don't know. My train of thought's been kind of fucking twisted up a little bit, so it
Yeah.
didn't go the exact way I wanted it to, and I'm tired myself.
Dude, I'm so fucking
Monday,
exhausted.
dude, Monday through Wednesday, I was on nights, so I worked from one
Oh
o'clock in
yeah.
the afternoon till whatever, and then Thursday, Friday, I went back to days. I'm like, why wouldn't you fucking finish the week out? Then I
Yeah.
forgot. Oh yeah, I requested Thursday, Friday to be back on days.
I don't.
I was like, shit.
I thought I was gonna miss nights. I don't really miss it. I'll tell you what does suck is normally I've been leaving the lot with my truck at like 4:30 in the morning. So I've been leaving here at like 4:15. So
Mm,
Thursday I was scheduled for like to get my truck serviced and shit.
yeah.
I had to fucking leave the lot, not my house, the lot, which is down the road. By I left at 3:15, 3:20 Thursday morning. Now it wasn't that
God
bad.
damn, dude.
I only had the one load, so I didn't have to run a full day. So I got loaded, came back through Columbia, got the oil change and everything, went down, to Georgia, got it off, and I was back home by like 2 o'clock. So it wasn't that bad, but still waking. I went to sleep at like 10 and woke up at like 2:30. Fucking god, I was a zombie, that evening. But I think getting up like that is easier than doing the swing shift I was doing because I couldn't ever get on a regular sleep schedule.
Yeah, you did
So
that way
10,
longer than
10
I could
years.
have handled, man.
10 years. I
Yeah.
enjoyed it. Don't get me wrong. I had 7 days off straight every month, so I was able to. I had a lot of free time, and I really do miss that. But I also was tied up on nights and weekends away from my family, and now I have a 3 month old and a 4 year old, and
Right.
I'm really enjoying being home every night with them, and and not having to plan, only getting 2 weekends where you feel like you have to squeeze everything in those 2 weekends, and you can't. That's why I hadn't been playing paintball because I'm like, damn, I feel like I'm gone all the time. I don't want to take a Sunday away from my kids, or at the time, kid. And I feel like we're trying to do everything, in 2 weekends. So, but enough of that tangent. I forget how I got there now, but yeah. So yeah, we had a lot to unpack in 91. That was a good episode. Shout out to Vince for coming on with us. Kind of a lot to unpack on this one. Daniel's got some stuff off his chest. And then 93, I'm hoping, is going to be a guest episode. We need to check the schedule. When is the next NXL?
In like 2 weeks.
Ooh, we might have to push our guests. I don't know. You know, 'cause
I'm not gonna push him. You go push him. I ain't doing
I'm
that.
gonna push him. That might be, that might do the pregame, postgame deal, but we'll see. We might we might throw it in as a fucking bonus episode. We were going to do that this weekend, but this some scheduling conflicts, but we'll figure that out and have a little bit of cross pollination going on. You'll see what I mean when he comes on. But yeah, so this has been 092. Again, I'm aware the YouTube is not great. We're trying to do some things. I bought a camera. It's not that great either. Daniel says he's going to buy me one, so we'll see. We're slowly getting there. Trying to keep the wheels turning on the old school bus here.
Yeah, slowly but surely, it's happening.
Yeah.
I do know. I expect our YouTube to have some videos up definitely by next Friday for sure.
Yeah. I tell you what I might start doing too. I actually just thought about this. I might start maybe on the weekends, we'll see, and you can hop in too. Maybe we'll start streaming some Infinite Tournament Paintball on YouTube.
Yeah, we can do that.
Maybe so. Just have some live stream, get a little interactive on there. Post it on Instagram. Try to get some people over there to check us out and get Ethan from 5-2 Games. Ethan is actually in the middle of a move right now, so that's why there hasn't been any really patch updates or anything for the game. But if you follow the Instagram 5-2 Studios, you can keep up with what he's got going on. You should see some cool stuff coming out soon. But yeah, that's really all I have. To reiterate, excuse me. Drink, give me some gas. But to reiterate what Daniel said at the beginning of the episode, just remember we are sponsored by Infamous / Pro DNA, whichever one. Yep, there you go. Daniel's representing. I got an Infamous poster right here on the wall. I don't feel like taking it down because I might not get it back on there. But so 10% for code Center50, CENTER 50, all one word combination, number combination. 10% off of everything except markers. So that should be triggers, headwear, cleats, any of that shit should give you 10% off. And other than that is all I have, my friend.
I got nothing else myself.
All right.
Serious?
Peace.
Later.